Everything in this video is purely based on personal opinion, so feel free to agree or disagree. Just make sure to respect each other's opinion. Gacha game feel very interesting and fun and good for everyone. While it comes with tons of controversies like bad anniversary, weak character, bad anniversary, skin color problem, and the game still undeniably enjoyable. But there's one problem, one big problem that most people hate in any game, especially in gacha games. Yes, bad anniversary power creep. But as I said earlier, this problem exists in any gacha games, and as a Wuthering Waves player, I gotta admit, it also exists in Wuthering Waves, kinda.
There he is! There's a traitor! Traitor! Traitor!
And no. Before you throw random shit at me, you gotta understand. The word power creep itself means the situation where successive updates or expansions to a game introduce more powerful units or abilities, leaving the older ones under power, which sometimes, or most of the times I would say, will end it up ugly because the hard-earned money you spent on previous characters got wasted.
They cannot do shit. They cannot carry you to clear the end game because there's no data.
Well, not in Wuthering Waves. To start, many people are talking about power creep and Wuthering Waves as they think every time Wuthering Wave releases a new character, she or he will be stronger or better than the previous one, whether it's a DPS, sub-DPS, or even a support. For example, Jian was the first limited 5-star character ever released in Wuthering Waves, which is about a year ago. At that time, he was the strongest character in the game and the best pick for everything you want to do in game. But after Jinshi's release, people starting to change their DPS into Jinshi. I mean, how's not? Jinshi can summon a dragon and deal massive number of damage. And then comes Camellia, comes Phoebe, and so on. But to understand this problem better, we need a real example. And Honkai Star Rail is the game that most people can relate to. In the early game, Scylla was the best single target DPS in game. But after a few patches, she literally got power creep by almost every character in game. Well, not only her, every single early release character is. If you check the Honkai Star Rail tier list now, Scylla, Blade, Kafka, Silverwolf, and etc. is barely usable in the latest state of the game, while in their early time they considered overpowered. It's simply because their mechanics and damage cannot keep up with the new updates. Well, they can, but I don't think it will be optimal for the gameplay, especially in Star Rail where you need to clear a certain stages in a certain number of turns. So older units is barely usable in the latest version. To be fair, we cannot really compare these two games because they're a different type of game. Turn-based game where it is impossible to dodge enemies' attack, and an open world game with dodge and parry mechanism. Moreover, up until this point, I don't really see any problem, especially in HP inflation part for Wuthering Waves, which is, in my opinion, is the main reason why a lot of old units in the Honkai Star Rail got left behind and barely usable. While in Wuthering Waves, I think it's pretty safe to say that they handled power creep pretty well. They do have, but I think it's only applied to Calculator, which got replaced by Xiangliao. This is power creep from my point of view. Xiangliao works better in almost every aspect, if not all, and replacing Calcaro with Xiangliao doesn't come with any downside, except you lose an intro animation. Other than that, I don't think there is a problem, at least for now. To be clear, you can still use Calcaro if you like him, but in terms of character itself, Xiangliao and Calcaro have a similar playstyle or even mechanic. So going back to Calcaro after using Xiangliao, which is a unit that given for free, is pretty different. But well, somehow this topic turned into a sensitive topic for some people. Like, I saw back then some people arguing that Jinshi got power creep by Zani and stuff. But some people also said they're on the same level as the DPS. Well, it is actually hard to say because at this point Zani is a newer character. She basically got tailor-made sub DPS for her, while Jinshi doesn't have that kind of luxury with her, but still performed pretty well. And as a single character, without support, without sub DPS, I don't think there's a huge gap between them. Correct me if I'm wrong. And not to mention, she is still one of the best nuke DPS in game up until now. I mean, she's a Sentinel Resonator. I don't think people will be happy if she got topped that easily. Other than that, Jian, as the oldest limited 5-star character ever released, still one of the best unit to use in the endgame content, which is Wuthering Waves. He even works better than the newer character like Carlotta, even Cartithia, the latest character released in game. Well, I know it's because Jian is a character that specifically designed for grouping the enemies, but that's the thing, that they still perform well, even as an older character. So again, it's kinda hard to clearly determine if there's a power creep in Wuthering Waves or not, because in a game that relied on your skill to dodge or to fit the timing, sometimes stronger character can took you longer to finish an enemies, because it depends on the player's skill too. Skill rotation, team comp, even the boss pattern also affect the result. So for me personally, I think newly released character will always look stronger or better. Always. Well, I don't have a spreadsheet or numbers and statistic to prove this, but again, I think each character looks stronger or better than the previous one is because it is intended to be like that or look like that. I mean, each version was released to favor the new character, like buff or sometimes the enemies. For example, in Tower of Adversity, they will have buff that fit the new character, which of course will make them look stronger. So the conclusion is, for me, Wuthering Waves does have power creep, but it is not a problem, at least for now, and hopefully it stays for future too. New characters being stronger than the previous one is normal, otherwise people will be mad and the new character won't sell. The good thing is for Wuthering Waves, they handle this pretty well. They fill the gap by balancing the characters. If character A is better at grouping and killing small mobs, then character B will be better for bossing or to face a bigger enemies. The new character will be stronger at some point, but it will not make the old ones unusable to the point people will never touch it again. And as many people said, as long as Dungeon Main still can solo the game, I think we're in the pretty good spot. Let's just hope there will be no significant HP inflation in the near future. So what do you think? Do you think Wuthering Waves have power creep problems? Let us know in the comment section. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.